welcome to Razz Reviews. This is my spoiler review of Avengers Endgame. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, check out my non-spoiler review on the channel. Otherwise, if you've seen it, stick around. And I'm gonna start with, back by popular demand, a puppet show of my favorite scenes. Thank you, daughter. Perhaps I should have been kinder to you. What did you do? I aimed for the head. 5 years later. Rogers, that suit does nothing for your ass. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass. Ant-Man is here. But you can't see him. That is America's ass. Mr. Stark! You know, when we were on that planet and then I turned into dust and I got all dusty and then I came back and Mr. Strange was there and what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, that's nice. I kill you. Die. I knew it! I am inevitable. And I am Iron Man. Yeah. Clearly, I'm missing a Captain America figure. So, Funko Pop, want to give me a sponsorship? I'll do any movie that you give me a Funko Pop to. You're gonna call any minute now. Worth a shot. The reception for this movie has been generally positive, but there have been some fans who didn't like it as much as they liked Infinity War, and I sort of understand why. For me personally, Endgame worked a lot, but it worked because of one thing. I managed to sort of accept the path that they are taking, which is the path of time travel. Time travel is tough. It leaves a lot of plot holes. It's hard to actually pull it off properly without messing everything up. If you just suspend your belief and accept whatever the film tells you the rules are, then you probably enjoy the time travel movie. But if you refuse to accept the logic and think about it and analyze it and maybe even nitpick it, you will not enjoy the film as much. If I'm gonna sit here and be like, but wait, but maybe there was 2 Captain Americas in this timeline because he was an ice, but Captain America wasn't. What, did he grow? Did he not grow? Doesn't that like the change of the past? But the past becomes... It doesn't matter, like suspension of belief at this point, because at the end of the day, it's for the sake of the story and it does give a beautiful ending to the story. I love the aspect of going back to the old films and looking at the Avengers and watching the new Avengers, the future Avengers, watch themselves in the past and see how they've changed. And I also found it fulfilling in terms of character development and character reflection. And I expected the time travel element, to be honest, especially because they've introduced the quantum realm and, you know, from the comics, you kind of can tell where that is going. I really loved in the first act of the film how they went and they found Thanos and just killed him. That was awesome and unexpected, and the fact that he destroyed the Infinity Stones, that was unexpected. The other big, huge surprise for me was the time skip. The moment 5 years later showed up on screen, I was like, wait, what? What the hell? And I didn't think that they were gonna do that, but I thought it was very interesting because of how they treated the character of Tony Stark and his future, and we got to see him have his life and have his redemption a little bit and have his happy ending, sort of, before we lost him. And I thought that was really interesting. Another thing they did right was the Hulk. The Hulk really worked for me. This like professor type Hulk with Banner being able to combine the muscles of Hulk with the brain of Bruce Banner together. And actually, the Hulk in this movie was one of the funniest things about it for me. He had one of those runaway lines where Ant-Man comes back as a baby and Captain America's like, he's a baby. He's like, it's Scott. He's like, but he's a baby. And like off screen, he's like, he'll grow. Like, he's so nonchalant. Like, I loved it. It was really funny. The most unexpected thing about Avengers Endgame is that the hero was not one of the old Avengers or the new Avengers. He was a rat. Good job, Disney. Getting like a mouse in there to save the day. Cool. Ninja Hawkeye is pretty cool, and again, the time skip makes sense of how he would deteriorate over a long period of time after having lost his family in a snap, and then he becomes Ronin. He becomes this deadly assassin, which is a very interesting choice, especially because of his relationship with Natasha. She's the deadly assassin. She was the one without morals, and he always was her moral compass, and that's their relationship and their friendship. And then it kind of flipped, and that was really interesting and sweet and very heartwarming between them. And I really liked this exchange of roles that they had for each other. At the end of the day, the long runtime was just a build-up and a lead-up to that final hour. I had expected a big spectacle at the end. It's Endgame. It's the culmination of everything. But no matter how much I expected, I couldn't have expected it to be this epic. No way. I screamed so loudly. I lost my voice. I cried. It was insane. I think I'll never forget the moment I witnessed Captain America take Mjolnir, because I lost my mind. I've never been this excited in a movie in the cinema ever in my life. And I get excited real easy. And I always had a feeling that Captain America might grab Mjolnir, because in Age of Ultron, we see the hammer move a little bit when he was trying to pull it, but he couldn't. But now he can. And it makes sense, because when he was trying to do it in Age of Ultron, he was doing it for a selfish reason. He was doing it to prove a point, or as a bet, right? It wasn't a selfless act. However, when he was trying to defend the universe against Thanos, he was doing something very honorable and something selfless, and I believe he was worthy in that point. And there's also another theory that maybe because until that point, Captain America had a secret. He had kept the fact that the Winter Soldier murdered Tony Stark's parents. But after he confessed and told him, maybe now that's clear off his conscience and he's become worthy. I don't know, it's just a thought. I really love the development of the relationship between Captain America and Tony Stark and how they trusted each other in this film. I thought it was beautiful. And also I thought the film capped off their journeys in such a beautiful way. Tony Stark having his happy ending and using his brain and his power and everything that he's learned to actually defeat Thanos. He did defeat him, he outsmarted him, outmaneuvered him, and out-teched him, which is pretty cool. And when he sacrificed himself, I mean, that's a moment that you'll never forget. And I love how the last thing he said was, "I am Iron Man." It's such a callback to everything that he's achieved. It sucked that he died. It's such a bummer. I spent the last 20 minutes of that film crying, bawling my eyes out, feeling like crap. Which kind of makes me not want to watch that bit. I'll stop at the snap of his hand, and that's it. Because I can't just go through him dying and him saying people saying goodbye to him and his funeral. I can't get through that too many times. And Captain America got a really nice send-off as well, and a very satisfying end and cap to his storyline. I love that he gave his shield to Sam, who in the comics does become Captain America at one point, I believe. And the thing is, this was very surprising. The fact that he got a happy ending, because in my head, I was like 100% Captain America's toast. And the fact that he didn't die, I mean, he retired, but he didn't die, didn't sacrifice himself. But I liked it, because I liked the fact that the first thing we saw Captain America do in the first Avenger was sacrifice himself. And what we saw Tony Stark in his first film is that he's not the kind of person who sacrifices himself. He's the person who is very self-serving and egotistical and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he becomes a hero, but he's still an egotistical hero, you know? He's not the Captain America style of hero. And I like this, again, switch in the roles. It's a second switch between two characters. And I like that theme running throughout the film. It was the theme of what are you willing to sacrifice to undo the bad thing that has happened, or to save the world, or to save the universe, or to bring back those who are lost, you know? What would you do? And the answer is whatever it takes. Every one of them did whatever it takes. And at the end, it's a hero's stand. And I thought it was really beautiful, and I really like that message, and I like that theme running through. The fight sequences are amazing. I loved Captain America versus Captain America. That was so cool. They were mirroring their own moves, which was awesome. My second favorite moment was Captain America saying, "Avengers," everybody stands in line. He grabs the hammer and goes, "Assemble," and just, it's such a hype moment. It was so cool. And then that fight scene, everybody's kicking ass, and giant Ant-Man is punching an alien in the face. It was just like one payoff after the other, after the other, after the other. It's just like a giant firework bouquet of payoffs. Oh my God, it's so exhausting. It finishes, you're like, despite the fact that Avengers Endgame did so much right, there are certain things that didn't really work for me. The first thing would be the death of Black Widow. I felt like it was a little bit underplayed. I never felt it emotionally, especially because I never believed it. I thought that, there's definitely a way out of this, right? But then later when everybody's back in the future, that's when we find out, oh, she's not coming back. And it's just a little late, and I didn't feel the emotion. I don't know, maybe the way it was shot, maybe the way that she falls, we never see her fall slowly. Like when Gamora fell down the same ledge, she was like falling down slow motion, her father was dragging her, the music, I don't know, it got to me. I don't know why this didn't get to me, and I felt like it was a little undersold. We didn't see her funeral. I know they stood around and they were upset, but I don't know, I just felt like the emotion was a little undersold. I wish it was more powerful than that. The other thing that I didn't really like was the joke about Thor and him being like a fat, anxious person. I like the anxiety, I like the fact that he had like panic attacks. He's been through quite a lot in the last couple of films, so I understand why he was there emotionally, but I felt like him being fat and all that kind of stuff, I don't know, it felt like too much of a joke, and it kind of undercut a very serious situation. I know that it's a Taika Waititi kind of joke, and it belongs in a Taika Waititi movie, but here, in this movie, it felt out of place for me. Like, Thor is just such a godly personality. I don't really want to see him as a giant loser. Like, it's not something that I'm willing to accept because I'm a fan of the character and I'm a fan of his greatness and mightiness, you know? Otherwise, all in all, Avengers Endgame was a fantastic movie, a fantastic end to a beautiful saga. I cannot wait to see what's gonna come in Phase 4. I'm thinking, hopefully we get to see Secret Wars, Secret Invasion. That's the kind of storyline I'm looking forward to. Maybe we'll see the Ultimates, but that's a little too dark, I think. Maybe, I don't know. And next we have Fantastic Four now because of the merger of Fox and Disney. We might have Fantastic Four characters. We might have X-Men characters down the line. All very exciting. I cannot wait. And that's it for my spoiler review. Please let me know in the comment section what were your favorite moments in the film and how did you react to those epic moments that happened in the final hour. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to ask me what you'd like me to review for you next. See ya.